We also have Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, also delayed to 2021. So this was actually announced the day before Halo. And while obviously this is not going to get the level of news, I think they would have also been happy to be like, oh, Halo got delayed? Sweet, no one's going to even talk about us at all. So this sequel is been in development for quite a while and is the sequel to 2004's cult classic RPG, which is based on the Vampire Masquerade's tabletop series, which I'm not in tabletop gaming, but has a whole massive world around it. There's a whole bunch of not only previous video games, but there's also games being in development that are not this game at the same time, like visual novels. And there's also, as part of the same world of Vampire the Masquerades, there's like a wider world as well, and there's different games coming out. I forget the names of it, but it's like in the werewolf line. So there's so many different like things happening with this one property, but this was the game that people wanted, really wanted, and essentially they've had to delay. I think it's been developed by a company called Hardsuit Labs and published by Paradox, and they essentially just said, a basic statement, what you'd expect, that they just need more time. So I think this really sucks because it's 2004. It's been a long time, and I think people thought that they'd never see another game in this series, at least in this style. And oh well, again with Halo, I think especially in a smaller developer like this, the last thing you want is people to rush it out, especially when it's been anticipated for so long. So
Yeah.
guess I don't think this is going to be the last game we hear of delays, just with everything going on with the pandemic. So
No, and that's the thing, like, just given this year, it's, games that are launching with the title, launch titles always are like some of the craziest crunch periods because they're still not super familiar with the hardware, and there's a fixed date that you got to hit. And it's like, if you're a launch title, historically, you always hit that date. And just given the world that we're in, the issues that we're having, and like working from home, so like a lot of different conditions for people, you know, yeah, you just wonder how many games are going to get delayed. And, a game like Cyberpunk 2077, I kind of wonder in the future if people will look at that and go, oh, that's like a launch title for the PS5 and the Xbox One, right? But sorry, Series X, I should say. But it's not. Like, that's the weird thing about it to me, that they're not releasing it as a launch title. Like, they're releasing it on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and it's on the, like, I didn't check this beforehand, but my prediction is that the new consoles will get released on the 20th of November, which is a week before Black Friday, and Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out on the 19th of November. So it's going to be like crazy if it actually does eventuate like that, where you have, one of the biggest games of the year, if not the biggest. It's up there with Last of Us Part 2 and probably Animal Crossing. But from an anticipation point, I think across all platforms, Cyberpunk to me is the number one for this year. And you've got like that game coming out and then the next gen, but then that game is really not built for the next gen and it's not getting released on the next gen until 2021. It's just so
yeah,
odd, right?
I was about to say I didn't know if they'd given a date around their, I guess, next gen upgrade, but if they've said 2021, then
Yeah. So they've
yeah,
confirmed that. So, because what I was expecting them to do, how they delayed it, I was being a bit cynical. And to be fair, CD Projekt Red are very consumer friendly, almost like too much from a very business headed person like me. But, they're very fair to consumers, to be fair to them. And I kind of was being cynical and thinking, well, they're delaying the game and it's kind of like so close to next gen. Why don't you launch it on next gen along with like the previous gen and make a stack of money? Because it's like the number one
yeah.
title you'd get on next gen if it was available there.
But I don't think that they wouldn't make that date. They wouldn't. I don't know when they obviously made the decision to start a development pathway for these upgraded versions on the next gens, but I don't
Mm.
think they, given they've already had to delay the release multiple times now, it was meant to come out, I can't remember, it was like March or whatever, then got delayed again. Um, yeah, I don't think they would have been able to hit the launch if they'd done that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, and it would have been a bit contrived because they would have really need to, target and focus on that and maybe that would make the current version suffer even more, and then get a lot of backlash.